CSS animations allow us to manipulate HTML elements without the use of JavaScript. An animation lets an element change from one style to another by changing as many CSS properties as we'd like and as many times as we want to. This means we can get pretty creative with our animations. I'll go over some basic CSS animations with the two boxes that we have here today. There are a lot of properties, but I'll go through some that can get you started. To even begin using animations, we need to create some keyframes. This is basically the start and ending points of a transition. We do this by writing the word keyframes, and then we need to write a name for our animation. In our case, I'll name our first animation to color change. Now in here is where we can change a lot of properties. You can start an animation by using two keywords. The words being from with curly brackets and to as well. From is the beginning of the animation and to is the end. So in the beginning of our animation, we'll change the background color to darker blue as we have over here. And in these brackets over here, our ending animation, we'll change the background color to red. So now in order to actually use this animation, we need to target one of our boxes over here. In this case, I'll target our first box with the class of box1. And then in here, this is where animation will go in. So the first thing we need is our animation name in here. So we start with the property animation name. Then over here, since our name was color change, that's what we enter over here. Now from here, our animation won't necessarily play. So we need the animation duration as well. And I think I use something like 2 seconds over here. If we do save this, the animation does play, but only once. To actually change how many times the animation plays, we can use another property known as animation iteration count. Then right here, we can specify how many times we want it to run or infinite times. In my case, I'll use infinite so the animation can run continuously. So I'll save that and you should tell that the animation runs continuously. Now from here, you can target other things as well, like animation delay over here, which would delay the animation for the amount of seconds that you put in. Then you can also use something like animation timing function. Now this is basically the speed curve of your animation. Like should it slow down and then ramp up, or go fast from the beginning then slowly come to a stop. If you choose this option, you can tell that there are quite a lot of values over here. These are called cubic Beziers that can take custom values so you can determine what kind of speed you want your animation to play at. If you're unsure of how to use these, you can always use predefined ones over here. So there's ease in out, and ease out. Then finally linear. They will all affect your animation at different speeds. To save yourself some lines of code, there is a shorthand property to all of these properties. So instead of writing all of this in so many lines, you can just specify the animation property with one word and then put everything in one line over here. So we'll start with the animation name as always, so color change. Then the duration we want it to play for, which is 2 seconds. Our timing function, which I'll actually leave at ease. Then a delay if we had any set over here. And then finally the animation iteration counts, which we'll use as infinite. So I'll just comment all this out just so you can see that we have the same results when I save this. Now I don't think there's an order that should be followed, because you can even use the animation name over here at the end of this. This is the order I like to follow though. Now you don't have to use the from and to keywords that we use in the my color keyframe. You can think of these as percentages. So from is 0% and to is 100%. Now from here we will create another animation. So we started at keyframes. You can name it anything you want, but in my case I'll use my position. Sorry, I'll just make that an uppercase. And then we can use some curly brackets again over here. And in this animation we don't have to use the from and to keywords, but instead we use percentages. So I'll start with 0% and then we put our curly brackets over here. So we're going to target the left side and then we make it 0 pixels. And then as well as the top and then make that 0 pixels as well. So this is our starting position for our box. Then I'll copy this 4 more times because we have different percentages as well. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. So we've got 0%, then we have 25%, then we have 50%, and then 75%, and then at the end is 100% for the end of our animation. So for our 25%, our box moves to the left by 200 pixels, but our top will remain at 0 pixels. For 50%, this will remain at 200 pixels as well, but our top will move down to 200 pixels as well. Then for our 75, you want to move our block left again to 0 again, but here we will remain at 200 pixels. And then finally for 100%, we go back to original state, so our left is going to be 0 and our top is going to be 0 as well. Now before I go on from here, let me just explain what we're actually doing over here. Our animation will start from its default position over here at 0% at 0 pixels. Then the box will move 200 pixels to the left, but the top will remain at 0 pixels. At 50%, it's where it's a bit different. Our box will remain at the left 200 pixels, but our top will be pushed down 200 pixels. If we made left 0 pixels here at 50%, we would just return the box to where it was initially. And at 75% over here, we move the left of the box to 0 pixels, but leave it at 200 pixels. And then finally at the end, it returns to default position over here. Please pause the video and go through that again if I did go a bit too fast or you want to understand it better. Now before I do go on and target our box 2, I realized that I misspelled position, so I'll put the I over there. Now we'll go to our second box over here, so target box 2 class. And then over here, this is where we'll have our animation in. Now in here, if you want to manipulate the box position, we need to change its default position from static to relative. If you're unsure of why we do this, a video where I explain positioning in more detail should pop up or be in the description below. Now from here, we use the animation property alone, and then we use the name of our animation, which is my position, and then the duration we want it to, which I'll use 5 seconds, and then the iteration, which will be infinite. Now if I save this box too should move in the way that I just explained over here. So I'll save this and it should move continuously. And as you can see, the box moves in the exact way we defined it, and it should do this continuously until we change how many times we want iteration to run by. There are a lot more creative and complex things you can do with CSS animations, and remember, you can change almost any property of an element that you'd like to. I don't really think there's much more to discuss when it comes to CSS animations. If you do have any questions though, please leave them down below and I'll answer them as best as I can. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and found it very informative. With that, I'll see you guys in the next one.